Hello everybody and welcome back to Odin's Movie Blog. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well. And today we're going to be talking about Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel has done wonders at the box office. Boom, I said it! That's for all the trolls out there that it's like, oh man, I can't wait for him to have to eat crow. It made money. I never said it wasn't going to make money. I was questioning how much money it was going to make. I was questioning how much the pre-sales were going to impact the number. And I still stand by my statement that pre-sales, when everything is said and done, do not mean a damn thing. Other than the Thursday openings, they don't really mean a damn thing. And I still have the proof of that being Solo Star Wars Story. That one had great pre-sales. It had a strong Thursday opening. And then guess what? It did nothing for the weekend. And it continued to lose money after that. This is a very different situation because, as I said, this movie was not coming out after a movie like The Last Jedi. This, however, is pretty much like The Last Jedi, where guess what? Remember, The Last Jedi made $1.3 billion, except it was one of the most hated and divisive Star Wars films of all time. Doesn't that sound familiar? And also it led to the next film losing money. Now, I'm not saying that Endgame's going to be losing money. However, this easily could impact the future of the MCU in a very negative way because, and I won't know this for sure until next week when we get those drops, because it's going to drop between week 1 and week 2. Every movie drops. The question is, how deep is the drop going to be? If we see over a 60% drop, like a 65, 70% drop, that is going to be a very telltale sign that, yes, this movie is going to, because it made so much opening weekend, it's going to end with a crap ton of money. That's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. But if we see like a 70% drop domestically, and we see an even larger drop or a similar drop, keep in mind, The Last Jedi dropped 92% from week 1 to week 2 in China. I'm not saying that this is going to drop 92%, but I'm saying that you very well could see that potential happen. And what I'm trying to point out here is this. This movie is doing well at the box office. It made $455 million as of today. These are the estimates. And some people say, oh, couldn't it be like a lot lower than that? Probably not. As I've said constantly, the most accurate estimate number that you ever get is this number right here, is the Sunday morning number. It's usually only off by a few million or so. So it's going to end up roughly around $450 million, which is a lot larger than the speculative $350 million opening that they were saying was going to happen for the worldwide box office. And so everyone's going to go to town with it and, basically praise it and say, oh, look at everything. Oh, look at all the records it's breaking. The only problem is that it actually hasn't broken any records. If you see these numbers here, you see that, yeah, it's fourth best opening. Adjusted, in March. It's the 6th best opening, for the spring. Okay, 4th best opening spring, unadjusted. 3rd best opening in March. Okay, so yeah, it's doing well. It's doing very well. But if anyone tries to say, oh my gosh, all the records, the one record they're going to probably throw at you constantly is, oh my gosh, it is now the highest grossing female-led movie of all time. Good for you. I didn't know that was the metric that we were having to use. Why can't it just be all movies? I thought men and women were equal. Why aren't you saying that, oh, it's the 4th best movie opening of all time? No, because they want to put those number one movie, number one. And remember, I said this months ago. The one narrative and story that you were going to hear all weekend is, oh my God, record breaking. Oh my God, so amazing, so glorious. And it is a very large number. It is doing very well. However, what you're seeing more so than anything else, we were already seeing it very clearly before with the coverage of this, with the lies that the media was telling about, oh, it's just nothing but a bunch of sexist people attacking this movie because they don't want a strong whammon superhero, even though that's not true. That is patently false. The vast majority of people saying, I'm not interested, heard what Brie Larson said and said, okay, why is it that she can say, oh, I don't care about what a white dude has to say about A Wrinkle in Time, it's not made for him. When if I were to say, oh, I don't care about what any other person of a different race or different gender than me has to say, it's not made for them, I would be raked over the coals. I would be called a racist. I would be called a sexist. I would be called a wide variety of names. But guess what? When she is a upper class, privileged white girl, privileged Hollywood white girl, and so therefore she gets to say whatever the hell she wants because she's pandering. She's pandering to everybody. She's pandering to all these people. And guess what? They're eating it up and saying, oh my God, Brie, you're so enlightened. Oh my gosh, Brie, you're so enlightened. Especially when you say, yeah, I don't care about what some white dudes, like some 40-weight white dude. I don't hate white dudes, by the way. I don't hate white guys, by the way. Sure you don't. But regardless of all of that, we know how the media spun that coverage, trying to say, oh, no, that's not what she was saying. It's not the media's job to try and clarify what someone's saying. It's not the media's job to come to the defense of somebody. It's not the media's job to lie. It's not the media's job to spin. That's what they've done. They've been doing it for a very long time now, but that is not their job. Take our good friend, our good old buddy, Scotty Boy Mendelson. His job is Forbes.com. His job is he's supposed to be covering the film industry, as he says, with Hollywood and entertainment. He's the senior contributor. And yet all of his articles have become nothing but political spin. Notice this headline: box office, Captain Marvel trolled the trolls with a $455 million global launch. The fact that they've now turned the name and the word troll into the modern day use of racist and sexist, where it's something that's now being overused by everyone in the media. Again, where have we seen that happen before? Oh, that's right, with the terms racist and sexist. And now it's being used as something that they don't even know what it means. Again, a troll is someone who puts out incendiary stuff just to get a reaction, just to put for the sake of doing it. What we're talking about here we're talking about a large group of people who just don't want to see a movie because, one, Brie Larson is an asshat, and two, the movie just didn't look very good. The trailers just didn't look very, very good. And guess what? You can ask a lot of people, and they'll say, yeah, the trailers really didn't look very good. You can ask all the audiences who are coming out saying, oh, yeah, there's a lot of flaws with that. Go ask Tim Pool, who has one of the largest channels that I follow, who hated the movie, said the movie sucked, said the movie was filled with plot holes, which it is. They are objective. Again, we have an objective point of view and a subjective point of view. You can subjectively like this movie. I have nothing wrong against that. Again, if you subjectively like the film, great. But you cannot ignore objective fact, objective reality. This film has so many narrative flaws, so many plot holes, and I'll leave a link to Tim Pool because he, in my mind, it has one of the best breakdowns of this freaking movie. So I'll leave that in the description of the video. But seriously, it objectively is so flawed. And yet people are going out of the way. Remember that we read through those critic reviews where they were like, oh, it's just such a meh movie. It's in the middle, in between, and she's not really right for the role, all this stuff, but I'll give it a fresh rating. Again, remember we exposed that. We exposed how Rotten Tomatoes was corrupt with their very system. The fact that the rating is actually like a 68%. The fact that as we speak at this moment, again, looking at this, let me go ahead and refresh it just so that we have the most accurate numbers. So at this moment, again, we see 79% certified fresh. Oh, that's such a great number. Yeah, but when you dig deeper into it, guess what? That's a 6.9. That's a 6.79 out of 10. That is a 67 or 68% rounded up. 68% is a failing grade. Top Critics is a 63 rounded up score. 3.1 out of 5 from the audience score with a 55% audience score. As you can see, Rotten Tomatoes is a broken system. Even on Metacritic, 65. Again, generally favorable reviews, but 65 out of 100 is a failing grade. Do people not realize this? Oh, now it's down to 64. Isn't that something? 3.2 out of 10 for the user score. Oh, those are just a bunch of trolls. Okay. My own website. Yes, that's right, my own website, which is probably going to be the most susceptible to trolling, has this movie at a 3.5 with 469 votes. And there was one person who literally left a comment saying, I haven't seen this movie. I'm just coming here to troll it because I want to make fun of this dude. Talking about me. And yet, what do I have here? Please only leave a rating if you've seen the movie. And yet 682 people said, I have no interest in seeing that. If these people really wanted to show, oh, look, we're trolls, guess what they would have done? You would have seen the same number of scores here, but you don't. But you don't. In fact, you see more people trolling this in the opposite direction. So, oh my gosh, the trolls, the trolls, the trolls, the trolls. Stop throwing that word around. You don't know what it means. You have no idea what it means. So, oh yeah, Captain Marvel trolls the trolls with a $455 million global launch. Let's see what it says. At this point, the notion of the new MCU movie opening with a bofo box office Friday to Sunday debut is barely news anymore, as it's now akin to a new Tyler Perry as Medea movie opening with $25 million. Still, even by Marvel standards, Captain Marvel flew higher, further, and faster than its relative competition. The Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, Reggie the Cat sci-fi adventure opened with $153 million in North America this weekend, which is the second biggest solo superhero non-sequel. Listen to those words. The second biggest solo superhero non-sequel launch behind Black Panther. It's the third biggest March opening of all time, sans inflation, behind Batman v Superman and Beauty and the Beast. Guess what? Even with inflation, you still see something similar. And actually, it's actually not even up there anymore when you adjust for inflation. Notice how in that first paragraph alone, he shows that he has an agenda. He shows very clearly, this is a guy that's supposed to be a journalist. This is a guy that's supposed to just be, hey, here are the box office numbers. Here's how they break down. Here's what they mean. And yet you hear him going off on his soapbox, trying to say, oh yeah, just a bunch of trolls. You saw all this happen beforehand. Everyone was lying about what was happening. Oh, just a bunch of trolls, just a bunch of sexist trolls driving down this movie. And yet I can point out countless numbers of women who didn't like the movie, who have said, I have no interest in seeing the movie. Are they also sexist trolls? Are they somehow sexist against themselves? I don't think it really works that way. Oh, no, you're not taking into account the other things going on. No. What I'm doing is I'm someone who has never tried to act like I am the pinnacle of being free from any bias. That's never been what I'm about. I try and be honest with you. I'm straightforward. I tell you exactly how I feel. I never hide that. But these people, the media, the ones that you're supposed to trust with revealing what is true, are the ones who are protecting this film, lied about the film, lied about the trolls, and probably drove a lot more people to go see this movie than otherwise would have seen it. And what do we see from those people going to see the movie? A lot of mixed reactions. Where have we seen that before? That's right. Solo, A Star Wars Story, The Last Jedi. This is honestly, in my opinion, the beginning of the end of the MCU. We already are reaching the point where we're going to get superhero fatigue. It's going to happen sooner or later. And it's been a good 10 years, but 22 films later, it's going to happen at some point, especially when you have the DCEUs putting out films, and you have Sony and all these other groups putting out films that are very similar to it. You're going to reach a point where people are going to be like, all right, I'm kind of done with it. There are already countless people who've said after Endgame, I'm kind of done. Because these are the characters that I love. These are the characters that I want to support. And now I hear some of them might not be coming back. I don't know. If you think that Captain Marvel is going to be able to carry the franchise higher, further, faster, you've got another thing coming. Oh, but look at the box office. You can't ignore the box office. Oh, man, you can't ignore the box office. I'm not. And that's why, as I said before, I'm going to wait to get the week 1 to week 2 drop off. Once we get that number, if you see like a 50%, 55% drop, even a low 60%, like a 59, 58%, I would say, okay, it's got legs. It's going to make $1 billion. This film has the potential at this point very easily to make $1 billion. But if you start seeing a huge drop off, at that point, the narrative is going to change. At that point, they'll be like, oh, but don't forget about that opening weekend. And remember the trolls. Oh, this is just the trolls' fault. They were ready to run with this story. Scott Mendelsohn already had in his mind that his headline was going to be either the trolls get trolled or trolls stifle female-led superhero film. That was the narrative that he and so many other sites already had set up, because they were going to make excuses for this film no matter how well or how poorly it did. It did well, and I'm not going to make excuses for that. I put that towards general MCU fans who don't follow this stuff, who have no idea what's going on. I had a good friend of mine who saw this movie and said, oh, I thought it was really good. And then he said, oh, I sent him a video saying, well, I would watch this. It's a pretty good critique of the video. I sent him the Tim Pool video. And he says, oh, this is a bunch of fake news. No, what are you talking about? There was no hiding of anything. No, it was a bunch of sexist trolls. And I'm like, now it makes sense. Now I know why you saw this film. Now I know why you came out of it positive, because you went in already with the predisposition that you were going to try and find anything you could to like this film, because you were like, oh, a bunch of sexist trolls were going after it? Well, I mean, I feel bad. I got to go in there. Think about how many people heard that and believed it, because they naturally want to trust the media. They want to trust the reporting that's being done in these major corporations and these major studios with these major publications. But instead, they're being told and fed lies, and they're believing it, and they're buying into it. And some of them are coming out saying, hey, I like it. And again, subjectively, if you like this film, that's fine. You have to still admit to objective flaws. Again, there are plenty of films that I like. For example, I love The Room, subjectively, but objectively, it's an entirely gigantic mess. Captain Marvel, I didn't like subjectively, and also noted very much easily so all of the objective flaws, all of the freaking plot holes, all of the retconning that they do, the stupid retconning that they do that serves no purpose. Seriously, it serves no purpose other than just making it more difficult. Now when you go back and watch the movies, you're going to be like, wait a minute, this is different. This doesn't work anymore. Oh, wait, that's right, because the writers of Captain Marvel were like, oh, what the hell? Why the hell not? Let's just, do whatever we want with this film. Again, it did well at the box office, but you have this asshat right here saying, oh, the troll's a troll, and then, oh, the Alita fails the hashtag Alita challenge. This is supposed to be journalism. This is supposed to be free from any bias. This guy was spinning it before the movie came out. He's spinning it now, and he's going to continue to spin it in the weeks to come, no matter what the box office is. I'm not. I'm saying very clear. This movie did well. This movie has broken even. This movie is making profit as we speak. However, I am not going to sit by and ignore the fact that this film has been protected from day frickin' one by a dishonest news media, by frickin' Rotten Tomatoes, and also by major tech companies silencing voices. I'm never going to forget the fact that YouTube changed its entire algorithm to keep people away from conversations about Brie Larson's comments. Never going to forget that at all. Never. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with serious censorship. Oh, but you're still allowed to speak. No. This is a very, very severe form of censorship right here, because you have several news companies labeling people like me as sexist trolls. It's not going to be long before you start to see people get demonetized or have their videos taken down or have their channels taken down because they don't go along with the party line, because someone decides to false flag them, because someone decides to say, oh, look at this, he's spewing his hatred for this movie just because he doesn't like women. Then where in the hell was I for Wonder Woman or Alita Battle Angel, or going all the way back to the 1980s with all of the films that we've had since then with strong female leads? Seriously. Where was I for Peppermint? I was one of the only people on the internet defending that damn movie. Seriously. Like, let me just pull that up for a second. Do you remember? Seriously, go back in time. You can find the review. You can find the review that I did for this movie. Oh, why are you trying to virtue signal? I'm not. I'm simply just trying to point out a fact. Yeah, remember this movie? Oh man, a strong female character. What is this? What is this? A 3.4, a 34%, a 35% from top critics. Average rating from audiences, though, was a 3.9 out of 5 with a 73%. Oh, look at this. Look at this. YouTube decided, or rather, Rotten Tomatoes decided to save my score, unlike it did the several times I've tried to review Captain Marvel. Some may not like how quickly Jennifer Garner's character becomes a badass, but overall I found this film to be very serviceable and a worthy addition to the revenge genre with a strong leading performance. Oh man, I'm so sexist. Ooh, yes, I'm such a sexist troll that I hated a movie that every single critic went against. I guess the critics were sexist then, right? Because apparently if you dislike a movie and that person who's in the lead part has, is a woman or is a different race, and I happen to be a white male, oh gosh, good God, I must be hateful. I must be filled with rage. I am filled with rage, but that rage is not towards women, as is proven obvious by this very fact. My rage is fueled by this crap here, by this total dishonest news media spinning stories and pontificating when they are supposed to be the objective journalists just speaking facts. They should say, box office, Captain Marvel does extremely well, 455 million global launch. That's all he had to do, and then break down the numbers. But instead, he, just like so many other in the news media, wanted to spin everything. Well, aren't you spinning something? When did I ever say that I'm an objective news journalist? That's not who I am, and I've never claimed that identity. But anyone that writes for major publications in this way, he's not writing in the opinion section. Again, he is the Hollywood Editor senior contributor. Or rather, Hollywood Entertainment senior contributor. There is supposed to be a level of objectivity there, but apparently that's just flown out the window. This has been around for a long time, and it's not going to stop. What we see now, though, is we see a movie that, yeah, it's going to make money. It's already made money. It's already profitable. How much it's going to make, won't know really until next weekend when we see a drop-off, because we're going to see a drop-off. How big that drop-off is going to be is going to determine whether or not we see a billion-dollar film here or whether we see a sub-billion-dollar film here. But no matter what happens, the movie will not change. No matter what happens, the mindset of Brie Larson will not change. No matter what happens, the SJW agenda that's being pushed by this film. And if you say, oh, no, it's not feminazi or anything like that. No, it is. You're an idiot. I'm sorry, you're blind if you do not see all of those little things and all those little jabs that like, oh, smile more. Oh, let me take off Arnie's head. Oh no, the patriarchy, the Kree Empire patriarchy chip that's holding me back. That's what's keeping me from fully reaching my full potential. The immigration storyline. God, seriously, this movie is filled to the brim with politics. If you liked it subjectively speaking, fine. But please stay grounded in reality for your own sakes. Because I honestly believe that this is the beginning of the end of the MCU. We'll see what happens. If this is the direction that you want, the MCU to go, if you want a movie to be filled with identity politics, if you want that same movie to be protected by the media that is not supposed to take sides on this, if you want an MCU that's going to be protected by that same media, no matter what it does or what characters they put out or what nonsense they try and spew, well then please go ahead and continue to support them. But if this is the direction that they're going to go after Endgame, I'm done. I'm out. Because I and many others don't want that. We want this crap out of our movies. And we want a news media that's going to be freaking honest for once. God, the whole thing just makes me sick. Again, it making money does not make me sick. I honestly think it's just a bunch of generic, general MCU fans that are showing up in droves because they're like, oh my god, I can't wait for Endgame, and apparently this is supposed to tie into Endgame, and I have to know. Even though, if they see the movie and they actually think about it, this has almost no direct correlation and no impact whatsoever on the Endgame storyline. You can skip this movie and still go see Endgame. But how do you know you haven't seen Endgame yet? Because I've seen the movie, and the only thing that it does is say, here's who Captain Marvel is. I could have known that very easily just from reading a plot synopsis. And the very end, my gosh, the spoiler, the end credit scene, she shows up. Ooh, oh my god, she shows up. And then a freaking cat throws up the... throws up the Tesseract. All right, guys, I'm done. Guys, if you like this video, smash that like button, give me a thumbs up, give me a subscribe. You know that this video is going to get tons of hate. You know the trolls are going to be out in full force saying, you're just salty because this movie made money. No. I'm salty because of how the media is reacting. I'm salty because of the protection that this movie has gotten from day freaking one. Before anyone knew anything about anything. Before anyone ever had even heard the words of Brie Larson. The fact that this movie's been protected from day one. And when all of this stuff came up, the media, tech companies, everyone came to the defense and labeled every single one of us a troll and a sexist. This is the world that we live in now. If you have a different opinion than someone else, you are automatically the worst person in the world. As I said, if you like this movie, subjectively speaking, I have no qualms with you. I do not hate you. I will not call you names. Now, if you ignore the objective flaws that you just literally cannot ignore, well, then obviously at that point I'll be like, all right, I'm going to try and convince you, but if you still don't accept it, I don't know how much, I can really say that you have, a lot of common sense at that point. But unlike that, these people will just blanket call every person a sexist, a racist, now a troll. Now that's a new word to add to the vocabulary. Anyway, have a great day, guys, seriously. And as I said before, this movie's going to get a lot of hate, going to get a lot of rage from all the feminazis and all of their soy beta boys who are going to try and come out and say, meh. Again, troll me all you want. I got thick skin. I was wrong about the box office opening. I thought that the numbers were going to be very different. I was wrong. This movie, $455 million global opening, that's gigantic. It's making money. But again, I'll wait until next weekend to make my official thoughts on what it's going to make by the end of its run. And also, too, it'll tell us a little bit more about the future of the MCU. Have a great day, guys. And as always, God bless.